Okay. So as a community platform, we deliver these events with an intent to help others prepare better for their careers, for their Agile and Scrum and any other product development implementations at your organizations. So this is our event number 49. We've been doing this in the last 3 to 4 years. And today's event is focused on business agility through SAFe. And we have a speaker here. But before we get to Venkat, I have a few minutes to share about some of the things as an organization, what we do. Right. So that's about the event today. And a few pieces of information. We are also partnered with Scrum Alliance as a certified Scrum trainer. And we also deliver the CSM, CSPO, etc. programs. We are also a bronze partner with Scaled Agile Framework. We are also a certified trainer in a very, very niche area called the training from the back of the room. And those are the 3 alliances, and they are growing right now. I think we have seen that, so I've just skipped it. And these are some of the services that we have. CSM, CSPO, Advanced CSM, and Advanced CSPO. These are the courses that we offer today as part of this Scrum Alliance. And there are several SAFe courses, Scaled Agile Framework courses as well we offer today. We are mainly into the transformation and coaching business, and we offer a lot of community-based services as well. Some information out there in terms of some of the free implementation resources that one gets if you're able to register with us through any of the courses, whether an in-person or a virtual course. Right. Premier Wednesday is the platform that we are talking about. There is also something called as Ask Career Mentoring. We're conducting our mentoring session next Wednesday. So if anyone is interested, you should reach out to us. And this is a brief agenda for today. A quick introduction for 5 minutes. And then we will hand it over to Venkat about how business agility can be possible through the Scaled Agile Framework. And he's going to discuss some of those patterns and anti-patterns and some of the practices out there. So a little bit about Venkat. I knew Venkat for more than 20 years. We have been, we worked together in Infosys long ago. And he's very considerate enough to accept my request to join this session. And because this is not easy to give back to the community without anything in return, right? And Venkat has been in pretty much alignment with the thinking that we have at Premier Agile. Venkat, thank you so much for spending your evening and some of the preparation that could go possibly into this event. We all understand a community event is not just like that. So thank you for the commitment towards the community. I'll hand it over to you, Venkat. I mean, however you want to run the session, you can do it. It's totally your session now onwards. And I'm also going to make you a co-host so that if you want to share your screen or anything of that sort, you can actually go ahead and do it. All yours, Venkat. Are you on mute?
Okay, thank you very much. So, people, good evening, good morning, good afternoon to all the people maybe joining from different locations, different time zones. So what I'm going to do today, so I will speak about the SAFe, how business agility can be achieved using a SAFe, and what kind of a frame, what kind of configurations exist for a different kinds of organizations. That's what I will speak. And I'm not going to use slides much. Reason is that the material which SAFe provides for a training cannot be used, and it's strictly copyrighted. And I'm going to use their website. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, anybody wanted to say what is the business agility? Why it is important? No one?
Let's check.
Yes.
Any ideas, anyone? How do you define business agility as?
Okay. So it's very important in a digital age. What we are talking about is software age. Everything is a software business, correct? Things are moving at a blistering speed. So that is the reason why we need a business agility. Business agility defined by SAFE. How do you thrive in the digital age? By quickly responding to the market changes and emerging opportunities with the digitally enabled innovative solutions. So how to achieve it? That's what SAFE basically provides. Now, if you look at it, some of the organizations who mastered the large-scale software delivery, like in Google, Amazon, Netflix, they are ruling it, correct? That's what they're creating an economic landscape. So which companies, these companies, some of the companies did not exist maybe 20 to 30 years back, correct? So they are now they're becoming the hub economies, if you look at what their market capitalization in the world. So how SAFE is going to make sure that your business, correct, or organizations can achieve the business agility, correct? So we look at few generations back. In every generation, there was a disruption. If you look at my screen, it started 1771 where industrial revolution, and now we are into digital age. If you look at it, there is an installation period where the massive capitalization is introduced. Then there is a turning point. Then there is a deployment period where the production starts. Now we are in this age of software, but we are not very clear whether we are in a turning point or we are in a deployment period. If you look at some of the organizations like a Ford, if you look at today, their market capitalization much lesser than their revenues. If you look at a Tesla, their market capitalization is 14 times more than their revenues. That says something, correct? The future is not with the already existing organizations which are not moving ahead into the digital age. Probably Apple is the what we say that on a volume base watchmaker in the world, instead of what we look at in Swiss companies. That's what is the change that's happening, correct? So in this new era, correct, how are we going to have a business agility with old organizations which were existing for a stability and efficiency? How do you do that? Okay. Any organizations, what started? They started very nimble and humble. Today, we say that, okay, huge organizations like an Amazon, Google, whatever it is. At that point of time, the focus is on a customer. Roles and responsibilities, reporting structure, they're all fluid. They have only one focus, what is the customer needs, and explore what are the potential solutions and deliver value as early as possible. And that's what we are calling as an adaptive entrepreneurial network. This is how it looks like. But over a period of time, when they grow, right? When they grow, what happens to scale it for an economies of scale? They started recruitment, retention, and started functioning as a departments. What we say that silos, functional organizations. That's how they become. When they become functional organizations, they start recruiting for expertise into those functionals. And slowly, they will collide with entrepreneurial network. So the first casualty, what is going to happen? Customer centricity will get destroyed. So because of their profits or revenues, they are able to survive. It's not going to be a problem for the company, even though they don't they don't respond to the customer needs very quickly. But what happens when the disruption happens? Will they able to respond and come up with the solutions for the customers? If they don't come up, they will become relics. Their existence will not be there. One of the examples what we can talk about, I think, a famous Nokia, correct? Though they have adopted agility very early, so what happens? Though they adopted, they're not able to succeed. They failed. They were not able to get solutions delivered. They're getting delayed and delayed. Eventually, they're not in the business. So now what is the SAFE talks about? We do not want to trash what has been built for an efficiency and stability. Instead of that, when there is a opportunity in the digital age, correct, software age, how do we carve out something outside of an organization which is similar to a startup, similar to an entrepreneurial network, and the people come from the different departments, functions, and they form a entrepreneurial network and start delivering it. That's what SAFE talks about, a dual operating system. You have two systems now, operating systems. One is for stability and efficiency, which was built, and that is delivering the value as well. But to respond in the digital age, you are also building an entrepreneurial network for a speed and innovation. So you have two systems. SAFE provides a dual operating system. How does it provide? That's what we are going to speak. This is what we are talking about. In a traditional hierarchy, we are not going to trash it. And that offers efficiency and stability. And then when we create a second operating system, it is for speed and innovation. Now, if you look at it, so what is the fastest animal in the animal kingdom on the land? If I ask you guys.
Cheetah.
Tiger.
Is it tiger or is it cheetah?
I think cheetah, yeah.
Correct. So what makes the cheetah to win the game? It's not necessarily win all the times, but whenever it wins, correct? What makes it to win? Does it, because is it the fastest animal or is something else? When you look at a cheetah, how it hunts, the prey will not definitely basically move in a straight lane, correct? It makes turns and twists. And there, where the cheetah is able to accelerate and decelerate at an amazing speed, correct? How it can decelerate so fast and how it can accelerate so fast to win it as a turning points. That's how it wins. It's not because of the speed. It wins because of ability to accelerate and decelerate at turning points. That's what we want as an organization, correct? Look at an opportunity. Are we able to organize and reorganize at the speed to respond to the market, to come up with solutions? Okay. Yeah, somebody said that deer speed is around 90 miles and 110 miles. Yeah, but cheetah can run only few seconds. It cannot run like a deer continuously. That is also a challenge in the world. Okay, now if you look at it in animal kingdom, correct? This what we are talking about, a value stream network, is like whether you are able to organize and reorganize very quickly, like you have an agility. Traditional hierarchy is something like an elephant, correct? Where it is built for a stability and efficiency. These are the two operating systems what we are talking about. And the second operating system, dual operating system, which is built for a speed and innovation, is the way the safe is going to support. How is it going to support? Once a opportunity is recognized, this is the way the opportunity is recognized, business opportunity. You sense an opportunity. Once you sense an opportunity, you fund an MVP, minimum viable product. That what we do and organize around value. What is the value is going to be delivered to the market? So we have a connection to the customer to validate it. Is that what we are building? Is the right thing, correct? We deliver the MVP and our hypothesis is here, correct? MVP, that's what we said that. Are we basically delivering a solution to the right problem? This is an identification of the right problem and delivering of the MVP for the right solution. Once we deliver minimum viable product, we will know that whether it is working based on our hypothesis or it's not working based on our hypothesis. That's where you will get a chance, either pivot it or persevere it. If it is successful, you persevere and deliver value continuously. If it is not, you will take a different route. And in this period, what we are talking about, how do you achieve the business agility to deliver this or pivot it? How do you do that? To do that, SAFE talks about 7 core competencies. How to achieve it? In the 7 core competencies, there is something called at the center, what we are talking about, customer. Customer is at the center. That's what we talked about for speed and new innovation and customer. We need to respond to the customer, what solutions the customers are looking for. In that, there is one core competency, which is called a lean agile leadership. That is the foundation. And if you look at left-hand side, these are all practices. And right-hand side, these are all strategic in nature. And we have a team and technical agility. There are agile teams. There are teams of agile teams, which is called, we call as the agile release train in a SAFE construct, and agile product delivery and enterprise solution delivery. These are the practices. And then strategic in nature, where we talk about a lean portfolio management, where there are multiple products or multiple services are getting delivered from an organization, where strategy, investment, and funding to be aligned using the lean principles in system thinking. We will introduce the lean portfolio management. What products to be funded, what products not to be funded, correct? So that is the decision where lean portfolio management will help. Organizational agility, to sense an opportunity in the market. And continuous learning culture, how do you make sure that the organization is continuously learning and preparing for the future? These are the 7 core competencies. And there is a way to measure these competencies, what SAFE provides, and you grow with the right interventions. Though these competencies, core competencies, they can be measured and mastered independently. They are also interdependent. To become an organization business agile, they need to achieve a certain level of a mastery in these 7 core competencies. Okay. And these 7 core competencies, each of the core competency, what we are talking about, it has a 3 dimensions in it. Totally, there are 3 into 7, 21 dimensions. All 21 dimensions, we need to look into it. Okay. Let me, how this can be implemented in a SAFE, how the SAFE basically takes these ones to implement. These are the each of the core competency which we are talking about, 3 dimensions. Lean agile leadership has 3 dimensions. Leading by example, correct? Where people earn the respect, correct, that through their work. That's what we say, that lead by example, correct? The people, leaders, instead of supporting, are they getting involved in activities? That's the one of the dimension. Other dimension, which is the mindset and principles, which we are talking about, agile values, agile principles, lean principles, correct? And we are talking about a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. We are focusing on a growth mindset. If you are not able to do now, and there is a possibility that we will do it few days later, a few months later, by acquiring the skills, by learning ways and means. That is the growth mindset. And there is a implementation, leading the change. How do you communicate to all the levels the change? And how do you make sure that the change happens persistently? If you just support the change, it will not happen. And we need to know what are the critical moments as a leaders. This is the foundation. If this foundation is not proper, business agility will not happen. So now we look at a team and technical agility. Agile teams, correct, where the teams are following agile values and principles, lean principles, and are we building an high performance teams to deliver? But a single team. When we look at a teams of agile teams, we are talking about 5 to 12 teams in agile release train, delivering a single solution or a single product, and they have a common vision. And it is a cross-functional team. And whether they are able to deliver the outcomes. Then do we have a built-in quality? Probably following like a test-driven development, behavior-driven development, user stories, and continuous integration, continuous deployment, peer review. Those are some of the techniques. These are the 3 dimensions of team and technical agility. Then we talk about agile product delivery, where customer centricity and design thinking. Using a design thinking tools and techniques, are we identifying the right problem to solve? Are there people to buy our solutions? What kind of a problem we are going to solve it? And are we going to find a right solution to it? That's where customer centricity and design thinking dimension. And there is a develop and cadence and release and demand. That's one more dimension. When we say develop and cadence, to manage the variability in the product development or solution development, there are certain events happens on a regular basis, rhythmically. If you look at a sprint, they probably happen your sprint planning, sprint review, sprint retrospective, daily scrum, correct? All of them will happen on a rhythmic basis. So at a SAFe also, we talk about an agile release train construct, where there are certain events like a PI planning, SOS, or POC, innovation planning iteration. All of them happens on a cadence, which will minimize the variability of the product development. Then how do we make sure that when this is happening, development, release on demand, how do we decouple both of them? Irrespective of your development is happening, the release happens. So here when we say development cadence and release on demand, the moment product increment is created, it will go into production. So it sits in the production with a feature toggle. And when business thinks it is the right time, they release to the market. Okay. Next competency in agile product delivery, DevOps and continuous delivery pipeline. When we talk about a continuous delivery pipeline, it is continuous exploration, continuous integration, continuous deployment. And once we release the product into the market, can we add features later? For that, we need to have a DevOps and continuous delivery pipeline. That is the one more competency, and there are 3 dimensions in it. Then enterprise solution delivery, this is majorly recommended to use in a large solution, like in a defense or like in commercial flights, satellites, where thousands of people working towards a single mission, like a Lockheed Martin, correct, or Airbus, Boeing, for one solution, aircraft. Thousands of people will be working. correct? Or you look at a satellite, or you look at something like commercial flights. So that's where this core competency is used, and there are dimensions, 3 dimensions, where how you can use the lean system and solution engineering, and multiple trains and suppliers are going to work towards a single solution. How do you coordinate and how do you deliver the solution? That's the second dimension. And third dimension, so once you release the product, how do you make sure that it's a continually evolves? New features will be added to a continuous delivery pipeline. That is the one more competency. So there are 4 competencies which are in practices. Any questions so far? Okay. Let me move on. A strategic in nature, 3 competencies. Lean portfolio management. Lean portfolio management is required when we require a strategy to be aligned with execution and funding. We do not want fund the product, your products or solutions, services which will not make money for an organization. So that's where we're talking about strategy and investment funding. Then agile portfolio operations, where agile teams, arts, what we talk about, agile release trains, are they basically optimized for the operations, and a lean governance, where we can have a optimized processes. That's a lean portfolio management. Organizational agility, where the entire organizations, do we have a lean thinking people and agile teams? That's what we are talking about. Then we are talking about business operations. How do we measure, correct? A lead time, a cycle time, when we are delivering the value. And strategy agility is sensing in the market whether there is an opportunity. And how do you respond to an opportunity to monetize it with your solutions? That's an organizational agility. Continuous learning culture, 3 dimensions: learning organization, innovation culture, relentless improvement. How an organization becomes a learning organization? How do you support it so that their growth will help the growth of the organization? And how do you build an innovation? Probably you will hire in the short term and coaches for this kind of a work so that it happens, correct? And there is a dedicated time as well in a SAFE, where it gives for each of the program increment a dedicated time for the innovation, which we call innovation planning iteration. And relentless improvement. If you look at a relentless improvement at a sprint level, we have a retrospective. If you look at an agile release train, we have a inspect and adapt. Correct? Relentless improvement is where you think that, correct, there is a sense of danger. Other competitors are there. If you do not deliver the solutions, somebody else will deliver it. That has to be there all the time. So these are the 21 dimensions in 7 core competencies. When these dimensions, each of the dimensions within these 7 core competencies, when you master to certain level, that's where the business agility will start giving the benefits. So now what we will do it, we will look at what configurations will use what competencies, correct? How they can be used. There are 4 configurations, out of the box configurations, what SAFE gives. There is an essential SAFE, and there is a large solution SAFE, say this, and there is a portfolio SAFE, and we have a full SAFE. These are the 4 configurations. Let's look at an essential SAFE. How these 3 competencies, lean agile leadership, team and technical agility, agile product delivery come to life. This is what I think all of you are familiar. A basic construct, which is called an agile teams, where what we have a product owner, scrum master, developers, and testers. And these teams might be using a Kanban or using a Scrum or extreme programming techniques. Any of them they can use it, or they can use mix and match. If you want to scale it, where SAFe talks about when we need 50 people, above 50 people, or up to 50 people, you can use Scrum of Scrums and you can still manage it. When it goes beyond 50 people and up to 125 people, there is a new construct comes into existence, which is called an agile release train. 50 people to 125 people, what we are talking about, 5 to 12 teams working together for a common vision with a shared program backlog to achieve a single product or a single service. That's where the essential SAFe comes into existence. So when essential SAFe comes into existence with agile release train, a single train, there are new roles will come. Correct? To achieve the team and technical agility, agile product delivery, and the lean agile leadership, all these practices and artifacts and roles. There is a release train engineer. Release train engineer is called a chief scrum master. And he is the pilot of the train. Then there is a product management, which is a function. Product owner is a role. Product management is a function played by the business owners. And there is a system architect or a system engineer. These are the three roles, trio, correct? Who are very, very important in the agile release train to make sure that train is on track. Now, product management is the customer focused, market focused, and uses these are the things, design thinking tools to find out what is the right problem to solve and how to arrive at the right solution. That's their job. System architect is who provides the guidelines on architecture, because it's not like a single team who is working in Agile. There are multiple teams, 5 to 12 teams, and there should be a common guidelines. Correct? So that's where architecture, system architect comes to an existence. Now, for each team, there is a team backlog. What we call in Scrum, it's a product backlog. There is a team backlog, which houses user stories and enablers. At an art level, there is a program backlog, which has the features. And these features are prioritized using something called a WSJF, weighted shortest job first. And you see that there are the blue ones and red ones, the blue ones and red ones. These blue ones are called a business functionality, red ones are called a enablers, and they are there here as well. Now, similar to what you do it at a sprint level, there is a sprint planning, which is either a week to 4 weeks time box. And you probably do it if it is a month, 8 hours, correct? Appropriately, you do it the sprint planning. Similarly, in an agile release train, we do something called a program increment planning. Program increment planning suggested time box is 8 to 12 weeks. The planning time is 2 days. Either it is 8 weeks or 12 weeks or in between. Generally 10 weeks is the guidance. Program increment planning that happens in the continuous exploration phase. So where you have an hypothesis of the new opportunity. That hypothesis has to be collaborated, and we need to plan it. That's where it happens in the continuous exploration. Once program increment planning completes and we have a program increment objectives. Similar to your sprint you have seen, there is a sprint goals. Similar to that program increment objectives, which are set to achieve in the next 8 to 12 weeks. Inside the program increment time box, there are sprints. It's 2 weeks is the suggested. So if it is a 10 weeks is the time box, we have a 5 sprints. We call is the 4+1. 4 are the constructive sprints. 1 is the innovation planning iteration. So where the solution will be demoed is the solution as per the performance. Are we achieved? Have you achieved it? AI objectives, so that we can validate it. An objective evaluation of the solution. So in the PI planning, there is a alignment happens between the technology and business people. So that is what is evaluated in the innovation planning iteration. Then within the innovation planning and iteration, there is an inspect and adapt happens, where product is demoed, what has been developed, 10 weeks, and we see that what are the improvements we can do it. Process-wise, product-wise, we can look at the improvements. So this goes on. That means there is a continuous integration happens and continuous deployment happens within this. These ones are the infinite loops. They are continuously happening. Exploration, integration, deployment of the product, what is hypothesized at this stage in continuous exploration, based on what we have sensed an opportunity. That continuously happens, but release can happen at any point of time because they are decoupled. Now, this is the built-in quality. For the solution to have a better quality, correct? One of this team and technical agility, we saw that one of the dimensions, which is the built-in quality. How do we implement something like a test-driven development, behavior-driven development, code reviews, correct? Code coverage, testing, all those things. And there is a DevSecOps, which is the part of the continuous delivery pipeline. A solution context is where are you going to deploy the solution? Is it in a data center or it is a cloud, whatever it is, that bounds your solution. So with this, you are able to achieve certain maturity in lean agile leadership, team and technical agility, agile product delivery, correct? And if you look at, there are core values in the SAFe, which there are 4 core values, like alignment, built-in quality, program execution, and the transparency. And lean agile mindset, how do you do it? It's based on the Agile Manifesto, 4 values and 12 principles. And there is a SAFe house of lean, which we talk about a leadership, value, respect for people and culture, flow, relentless improvement, and innovation. Those are the 4 pillars. And there are 10 SAFe principles, which are made from a lean. They're made lean practices, agile practices, systems thinking, and DevOps. Those are the 4 are taken to make these principles. There are 10 principles which guides the SAFe implementation. So there's a role called SPC, SAFe Program Consultant, who is a change agent and implementation program. How do you drive this full implementation? Then this is the palette where you have a vision of the product and what is the roadmap of the product to achieve. And we also have something called a system team at this level who integrates the artifacts developed by the 5 to 12 teams within the agile release train. So when we bring these principles, values, and practices to life using this construct, we will be able to achieve lean agile leadership, leading by change, leading by example, leading the change, and mindset and principles. And team and technical agility, we talked about teams, teams of teams, and built-in quality. Customer centricity and design thinking, development guidance, release on demand, DevOps, and continuous delivery pipeline. This is how we can bring to life by implementing the essential safe. So this is the one construct, and we are able to achieve the 3 of the core competencies. Then at a regular interval, we need to assess these competencies to know where do we stand and what interventions are required to grow these competencies. That's how we do it. This is an essential safe. Any questions in this so far?
So Venkat, are these available on website and anyone can access them?
Anyone can access. This is a freely available material from the SAFE. So let me explain. If you go to scaledagileFramework.com and if you click on anything, it's all clickable, correct? If you click on core values, it gets loaded. Built-in quality, alignment, transparency, program execution. You can see all of these details. Okay. Now it's a clickable, everything is clickable. If you want to understand what's the RTE roles and responsibilities, what the RTE does it, you can read through it, correct? Now, also, if I go to the overview and I'll go to, these are the 7 core competencies which we have spoken. If you go to measure and grow, you'll go to the measure and grow. When you go there, you can look at a business agility assessment, and which talks about a 7 core competencies, team and technical agility to continuous learning culture. And you can click this one, you will get an Excel where you will be able to assess all of these 7 core competencies. Or you can further go down and look at it here, where for each of the core competency, there are 3 dimensions. And you can also download here, organization agility, there is an Excel. Once you download it, you will be able to do assessment at a dimension level. 3 dimensions, lean thinking people and agile teams, lean business operations. How are you performing in an organization? Correct? So that will give you an idea how to improve. So there are all 7 individually you can do it.
Okay, so these are all Excel sheets or something like that which we can download and do it for a safe
correct
project or a team or a program.
Yeah, if you are doing at an essential safe, you probably look at these things, correct? Team and technical agility. You go and click on it. Let me show you guys. So this is very useful. So you can even look at your team levels as well. If you look at it, this one, correct? This is recently changed. Agile teams is the dimension which we talk about. When we talk about agile teams teamwork, you can assess this. Correct? True, more true than false, neither true nor false, correct? More false than true. It's on a 1 to 5 scale. You can assess each of them. So there are certain things to assess, correct? Is the team is goal oriented? Does the team operate in an environment of a psychological safety? Team is empowered to make decisions on how best to do our work. So that's the teamwork. Then also there is a value delivery. Then learning and improving. Correct? You have different things within the dimensions to continuously assess yourself and then make an intervention so that you can mature. So it gives a spider chart. You can use this. Is freely available for anyone.
Okay.
Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
So you can use it, you can use it. So all of you can use that. Okay, this is available. So now, when we go to from Essential Safe, these are the ones you can download, you can assess yourself and see that where you are standing. So how do you make progress? Then if you go to large solution, correct? There are different backlogs here. We have seen team backlog and we have seen a program backlog. There are user stories, there are features. And here we have a solution backlog. What we talked about, something like where thousands of people working on a single solution, like in a defense, commercial flights, satellites. That's what we talked about. And there are multiple trains and suppliers working together to deliver a solution, large solution. It's not one train. So in this construct, we are going to look at something called a solution train engineer, solution management, and solution architect. Solution architect or solution engineer. Correct? Now, there is a different core competency here. Apart from 3 competencies, we've seen different competency, which is called enterprise solution delivery. The 4 competencies comes into existence with this. When solution backlog, when you split, decompose it, those are the capabilities are here. Those capabilities will become features. When features you decompose, they become stories. This is how it is. So enterprise solution delivery, which we talk about, continually evolve systems, correct? These are the systems that continually evolve, large solutions. So how do you do that? So then we'll go to the portfolio safe. Portfolio safe, where there are collection of products or collection of services. Correct? So how do we fund these products or services? And which we need to fund, which we don't need to fund. If you look at a monopoly game, correct? When we play the monopoly game, when the money is there, we will invest on certain things which will give the best return, correct? So that's where lean portfolio management comes to an existence. Where do you invest? You need to continuously engage with the business owners and your solutions, how basically the feedback is coming from here. What are the solutions you have already put in the market? Based on that, you will be able to make a decision. What solutions you will develop, what solutions you will not develop. If you don't do that, you might be developing a solutions which will not be relevant to the market. So in one of the engagement which I was working, and we have developed a solution for an African market. It was co-created. We spent around $4.5 million US on a solution. It took around for us around 1.5 years to develop. It was for unbanking people in the African market. And the solution, once we deploy, any small shop, as long as there is a desktop, a laptop, the person can log into it, and lot of things can be done. You deposit the money, withdraw the money, do the transfers. So a lot of facilities were given because those people will not be able to go to the nearest towns or cities to do all these transactions. That was an idea when we built it. So we took 1.5 years and we built it. And we deployed in Namibia. Then customer said that, okay, it was co-created. Said that we have to stop it. We do not want to do any further development. By the time we have done around 90%. And few more features which we need to add. It was more of a waterfall method. Right? We have not applied all these things. Why that product became irrelevant? The mobile penetration in African market is much faster than Indian market. And by the time this product was there in the market, people were able to do transfers and all those things using a mobile. They don't need this product. Correct? So have you implemented something like a lean portfolio management? Is the strategy, investment, and execution, is that alignment is there? We would have known, or if we followed an agile and we delivered an MVP, minimum viable product, we would have started making certain money, monetization. And we were able to pivot this one earlier. By that time, we should have made some money as well, but nothing happened. So the whole money is lost. Right? So at this stage, we are looking at maybe a collection of a products, collection of a services. Maybe it is a geography wise, or it is basically you are maybe within a unit, different products are there. Like in a retail banking, if you look at it, right? Multiple products will be there: e-banking, mobile banking, core banking, or loan, all those things. So at certain point of time, maybe when the just banking was happening, e-banking would have come. Correct? It's a product. Mobile banking would have come. It's a product. So it is relevant at that point of time. People would have introduced. Correct. So in that collection of the products, what is to be funded further, what is not to be funded. So that based on your enterprise strategic direction, they have a differentiating strategy. How do you differentiate with the competitors? That's what we call a strategic themes. That's a strategic themes which comes from the enterprise or the government. Then based on that, you have a portfolio vision. How do you implement it? Correct? Then there is a guardrails, lean budgets, what we talk about, what kind of a products we develop, whether we develop it, we do not develop it, correct, based on the feedback coming from here, correct. Then that's what we do it. And the once the strategic teams and portfolio vision comes, they will go into portfolio backlog as an epics. Epics are generally required to build maybe MVPs, couple of thousands of US dollars. Once you do that, then you probably will make a decision based on a MVP, whether it is we will go further or we will pivot it. So these epics further divided into a program backlog, they further divided into user stories. That's how the implementation happens. And here there are multiple trains. Each train will have its own solution or its own service, its own product. But one of the example I can give you here. So we have built an MVP for an US company, which is in the treasury. They wanted to convert a lot of mainframe code into a Java, but they don't want to do it manually. They do not want to rewrite it. Is there a way to do it? And we did two basically MVPs kind of a thing. We have taken some system and we have run using certain tools. How do we do that? So how much it will cost? What is the output? How much, whether that code can be deployed? Is it possible to basically convert into microservices? All those things we did. So there are four different tools which I have seen. We have seen 2 tools and some other company has done that and they have seen 2 tools. And based on that, they were able to decide whether to further go or you pivot it, correct? You were basically kill that. So when I was there and we did it, and at that point of time, we presented the results and they did not make a decision based on the outcomes. So that's how it helps when you build the MVPs. So I'll pass. Any questions I will take.
So Venkat, question from my side.
Yeah. Hi, Vishal.
Hi, Venkat. So this SAFe configuration, whether it is an essential, large solution or a portfolio SAFe, is it only dependent on the number of teams or number of peoples that we have, or is there any kind of a thumb rule to decide on which configuration should be used?
Yes. Let me tell you, at this point of time, we are talking about a single service or a single product, and where we need a scaling. That means we want at least 50 to 125 people to deliver the single product or single solution. And below 50 people, you don't need these roles: release train engineer, product management, system architect engineer. You can probably do a scrum of scrums or something like that. You still manage, correct?
Yes.
But when a single product, 50 to 120 people, then you need this construct. Reason is that you need a lot of coordination happens, correct? You need a lot of alignment has to happen. What is that you need to deliver? That is the where we say that a single agile release train to deliver this. So
Yes.
here if you look at it, number of people working for a single mission, a shared mission, is not like a different teams working for different solutions. Still we are making a train. We are not making. If there are 2 teams working on some product and 3 teams working on some product and 4 teams working on some other product, we are not bringing them because they are not a coherent in nature, correct? They have a different solution. Then we'll not bring them and form an agile release train. That we don't do it, because you don't need coordination within across the teams, correct?
Yes.
That is the one aspect. Now, when you have a large solution, one release train is not going to deliver the solution. With 125 people, you are not able to deliver a fighter craft. You are not able to deliver a commercial flight. It's not possible, correct? There are a lot of suppliers coming into picture. Suppliers might follow agile, might not follow agile, correct? And when huge number of people are working, one example I can tell you, I cannot name the client. We had 1,400 people working on a single solution for an American client. So a solution is single solution, but there are no suppliers. But how many trains we had? We had 13 trains to deliver the solution. Okay.
Yep.
So 1,400 people working towards a single solution. And then there is we need a coordination among all them. Then we need to, based on a certain logic, there are, how do you team topologies? And we have divided trains, 13 trains. And then we do, like I spoke about the PI planning here. Here, what happens to get all of these trains and suppliers to get an alignment before even the PI planning, we do something called a pre-PI planning to get an alignment towards the solution. And we also do a post-PI planning to make sure that we have closed all the gaps. So this, if you look at these two, it is one common thing is a single solution, correct? And the number of people,
Yes.
and involvement of the suppliers as well. Somebody has a question? Okay, Vishal, does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Venkat. Yes.
Okay. Now, when you go to the next level, portfolio safe, correct? Here, there are multiple trains, each train probably delivering a one solution. There might not be a dependency. There might be a dependency. But here more what we are looking at a strategy, investment and execution. Are all these trains, are they fulfilling the strategy of an organization? If an organization has a strategy, they are expressed in strategic themes, then you need to fund your epics such a way that you will be able to realize and you will be able to monetize money, correct? You will be able to monetize it. You cannot, as I told, I did something in agency banking, which we funded. We did not get any money. Everything is just gone in thin air. Correct? That's the mistake. So we don't want to do such mistakes. Correct? For that, it provides lean budgets and guardrails. How to do that? But here, if you look at it, it can be these product or services or solutions. It can be a geography based, correct? Or it can be basically based on different segments of the people, market segments. There are different products which we'll release, correct? And if you probably look at a car company, they probably have a different portfolios, correct? Multiple portfolios. Maybe hatchback is one portfolio, sedan is one portfolio, correct? SUVs in one portfolio. Within that portfolio, what to fund, what not to fund, correct? Probably if you look at maybe a Renault Duster might not be get funded now because there are no sales for that, correct? Compared to 2013, 14, 15 kind of a thing. So that's how the decisions are made. But here there are multiple products. And we need to make sure that to realize then organizations differentiating factors with the competitors, correct? What is that you fund? What is that you develop it? You probably develop a new products also, correct? Based on what you see in the market opportunity. That is the portfolio safe differentiates from the other ones. But if you look at the base is the essential safe all the time. And essential safe, you build a large solution. And essential safe, you build a portfolio safe.
Yes.
Okay. So now, when I get this portfolio safe, if you look at it, there is a lean agile leadership, which is the core competency we talked about. Continuous learning culture also will come into existence because it's an organization. It is basically one portfolio, and it comes lean portfolio management because portfolio comes into existence where there is a alignment is required between a strategy, investment, and execution, and organizational agility, where you, as an organization, able to sense an opportunity in the market and able to respond with a digitally enabled innovative solutions. So if you look at this configuration, if you look at an essential safe, there is no business agility. If you look at a large solution, there is no business agility. Once you reach the portfolio, you see the business agility. That is the way you start achieving the business agility. When you have these 6 core competencies out of 7 core competencies, and these 6 core competencies you need to master to certain level to get a business agility. And that's how you get it. You individually assess them and you intervene, you prioritize what grow, correct? Measure and grow. You do it so that you slowly mature and achieve the business agility. Then there is one more configuration which is called a full safe. In full safe, there is an essential that is, we said that it is in everything the essential safe is there, and there is also large solution that is a portfolio safe. In this large solution, where there are hundreds of people, correct, more than 125 people working on a single solution, and that will be called a large solution. And there is a investment, your strategy investment execution is in place. This is how this comes. Now, if you look at it, what happens? At this level, there are epics. Those epics will be split, they become solution backlog, which are called capabilities. And those will be split, you will make a program backlog, which are the features. Further split, you get your stories. At every level, there are enablers. If you look at these are the technical stories, enablers. Correct? Every level they are there. So now there are portfolio level, which I have not spoken. There are something called an enterprise architect. And there is something called an epic owners for these epics. Enterprise architect for multiple products, there might be multiple trains, and the enterprise architect is the one who guides at this level. That if there are like maybe 10 products. There are 10 agile release trains. So who guides an architecture, correct? There is each train, there is a system architect, but at this level, an enterprise architect is there. There is one aspect, if you've seen this, there is an architectural runway. This architectural runway, if you look at a metaphor like in a train and a track, to deliver the business functionality, we need business functionality. If the train delivers the business functionality, this train delivers the business functionality, and there should be a track. The track is built using enablers, and we do not want to build track too far. We need to build the track just enough architectural runway to be built. We don't want to spend too much money to spend like a 5,000 kilometers of an architectural track when we are only traveling at 50 kilometers per hour. Right? We just want to make sure that enough architectural runway is built for all these things. And if you look at in a full SAFe, this is the palette, which is the common ones. We looked earlier the vision of the product, vision of the solution. We looked at the roadmaps. What is that? We have a multi-year outlook for a product. 3 up to 4 years at a solution level, at portfolio level. What is the roadmap? Or we have a roadmap at a train level for the current program increment and 2 program increments. That means what we are talking about around, if 3 months we take one program increment, we are looking at a roadmap of 9 months. What is that going to achieve it? And it will definitely undergo a change based on what we learn. Right? What milestones we will measure? Process-based milestones, your product-based milestones, correct? And progress. How are you progressing? Those are the milestones which we can measure. Right? And for the certain dates, we have a certain demos. And there are also shared services like a DBS and all those things. This is palette given you can use based on what is the requirement. What requirement you have it at your level with the organization. These are the 4 configurations which serves different purposes. But this is what the SAFe talks about. But you can take any of the configuration and you can tweak it for your requirement. And certain organizations also what they do it, they take this configuration. We have taken in one of the program as a large solution, and we have a release train engineer, we have a release train manager, and we do not have this kind of nomenclature, different nomenclature. Okay, we did not have a suppliers, and we implemented, and not necessarily that you need to follow whatever is given here. Whatever is given is the recommendation based on success stories where SAFe has been implemented. But you all the time take it and see that what works for you, for your organization, and you can tweak it. That's the, so it's not necessarily, okay, SAFe says that, okay, this is the how to do it, we need to do only this way. It's the recommendation only. So recommendation, you can modify it based on your requirement. I have seen in some organizations where they take certain things from the SAFe and they take certain things from somewhere else, they have their own framework. Okay? That also people do it. Organizations do that. So now what I will show, how do we, when you do an assessment, correct? What is that we need to look into it? 7 core competencies. In brief, when we look at a team and technical agility, we need to look at, to achieve the team and technical agility, correct? Did we train all people in agile? Correct? Organize people into cross-functional agile teams instead of a component teams. When we move, generally we will have a component teams and we need to build a cross-functional teams. Does the teams apply agile practices? And we talk about a built-in quality. high quality solutions. How do we build high quality solutions? What kind of a practices we are following to mature in team and technical agility? Correct? Only we mature, then only business agility will be achieved. Organized teams of agile teams around solutions. What solutions are getting delivered or services? The teams of agile teams include the functions necessary to deliver end-to-end value. This is the where you need to measure and these parameters and see that you mature. And certain implementations, what we see, there are people not even trained, and still we start the transformation. Correct? It might not work. You might get in suboptimal results. You might not get the intended results. That's the problem. Then look at agile product delivery. These are the parameters. Adopt a customer-centric approach to defining our solutions. We can rate at this. How are we doing it? Validate solutions with the customers throughout the development. So we are doing a development, we are releasing to the customer, and every sprint we are doing a system demo to see that whether are we going in the right direction or do we need any adaptation. That's how it helps, where we work with the business owners. The teams of agile teams plan together in a cadence. What we are talking about, PA planning, where we say that 8 to 12 weeks we do a PA planning. There is an alignment between business and technology. Is it happening? The teams of agile teams regularly demonstrate the integrated solutions for every program increment or within the program increment for every sprint. Are we delivering, demoing an integrated solution? This is the challenge in a lot of the programs. If there are 12 teams are working, teams probably achieving individually what is that to be demoed based on their sprint goals. But when you integrate, that is the challenge, where people are not able to integrate it and they're not able to give the integrated demo. This is the one failure where what happened in Nokia. Probably this one and this one. They're the probably first ones to implement Agile. They measured how many people are trained in Agile. Are they all of them are working correct? But they do not have an integrated solution. They were not able to deliver. And also symbiosis was not extensible. You cannot integrate the third-party tools. Correct? They are Agile, but these competencies were not achieved. Team and technical agility and Agile product delivery. I see is my experience, and it is becoming difficult to bring so many people to work on a single product and make sure that this product is integrated and delivered. Correct? For every 2 weeks or every 3 months. It's a challenge, huge challenge. Okay, people are not spending enough on tools, continuous integration, continuous deployment. Correct? It takes a lot to make sure that this happens. Release solutions as needed. This is the Agile product delivery competency. These are the parameters which we need to look into it and see that are we maturing in these parameters. If you are not maturing, what is that we need to do it? Enterprise solution delivery. We talked about huge solutions like correct, fighter crafts and all those things. Adapt roadmaps to communicate potential deliverables over multiple planning horizons. Multi-year outlook. What is that we are going to deliver? Maybe Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. Next year, H1, H2, correct? Maybe third year, yearly. What is that we are planning to deliver? It is going to change, but do we have an outlook at this point of time? It is at a very high level. Allow requirements and design to emerge throughout the development process. Solution architecture is both intentional and evolutionary. Intentional is where architects say, evolutionary where the development teams will work on it. There is a certain leeway. Perform compliance activities incrementally. What we are saying that incrementally we are making sure that it is tested. That it's not that in a waterfall we test towards the end. And SIT phase or UAT phase, we found, yes, oh, everything was a green, now it is all red. But suppliers participate in agile development process because in large solutions, we see a lot of suppliers. Update deployed solutions on demand. And I was teaching recently, and one of the company, German company, they are working on a driverless technology, and 1,250 people are working on it. Around 12 trains, that's what, and this is what it is. They are suppliers as well. There's an enterprise solution delivery. They are building for a cars as well as the trucks. That's a solution they are building. Lean portfolio management. We talked about a strategy, investment, and execution alignment. Regularly communicate a vision describing the future state of our solutions. What is the future state of our solutions? What is that we want to achieve? Correct? How do you align your work with the vision? Correct? Your epics, your features, your stories, how are they getting aligned with vision to achieve it? Correct? How do you prioritize initiatives based on economic framework? What is that how do you sequence those initiatives for a better return on investment? Is there an economic framework which will help you? Okay, instead of funding a project, we will fund a value stream. Okay, which I have not spoken about a value stream. This value stream is the one which delivers value to the customer end to end, correct? If one value stream is, if you look at it, a simple one, correct? If you go to the bank, you want to take a home loan, that is a trigger. Then there are sequence of steps where people work, where information flows, correct? Where the material also flows. Then eventually the loan is given and the EMI you will pay over a period of time with interest, principal amount as an interest. So you buy a house, that's the value delivered to you, and the bank gets interest plus principal. So that is what we are talking about, an operational value stream. So we fund operational value stream, not projects. That operational value stream continuously delivers the value. Review and adjust funding decisions on a cadence. That means it happens in a rhythmic manner. Otherwise, you will end up developing a products, as I told, agency banking, which we developed and which will not yield any results. In your funding, get adjusted on a cadence based every 3 months, and where you engage your business owners, capacity allocations, what is to work, what is not to work. So that's where you will be able to make sure that you are getting the right products out to the customer. Use outcome-based metrics to measure success. You guys know what is the outcome-based metrics and vanity metrics. Share successful program execution patterns across the organization that inspires other people to do it. That's the lean portfolio management. Lean agile leadership. What are the parameters we need to look at it? Leaders clearly communicate a compelling vision for a change. Are they communicating? It's a continuous process, and everyone should know what is that vision is. It's not that one time they communicate and then they don't do it. What happens sometimes, I have seen in the larger organizations, leadership changes. They've decided to go for this approach, and the leadership changes. Sponsorship leaves the organization. Then where it lacks the communicating the vision, people will miss it. They don't communicate it. Okay. Leaders lead with authenticity. That means they lead with respect. The earn the respect. It's not comes from their position. Leaders exhibit an openness to an agile way of working. Leaders lead the transformation to the new way of working. That basically everyone is changing the way they were working, and they are working now, correct? They also need to lead the transformation. It's not that we will support the transformation, you go and work. It's not going to work. That's the end of it, correct? The people know on the ground know that people are not serious about this change. They'll also not take it very serious. Leaders move decision authority to where the information, decentralize the decision making, where who are very close to the information they are going to make decisions. Or there is a framework available to make the decisions. It's not that we can say that, oh, you go and make the decision. But we also need to educate the people. How do you make the decision? What framework will help you to make the decision? Correct? There should be under certain guidelines where the people need to make the framework. There should be a framework. Leaders proactively remove organizational obstacles, which we are talking about the impediments. Correct? They need to continuously work. If they do not work, what happens? One of the programs, there was a problem with the commercials, with the client, and there was a huge obstacle. Like environment was not available. It's a huge AWS environment. It was into millions and millions. Development environment was made available. Because of commercials, leadership is taking so long, 6 months, 9 months. Product solution is developed. The solution is never released to the business owners. There is no higher environment is available. Those are the huge obstacles which need to be worked. Organizational agility. Organizations can execute a change in strategy quickly in response to opportunities and threats. This is what we also talked about, a business agility. In the market, are you able to sense it? And are you able to execute it? Okay. I talked about a German company using in a driverless car and driverless truck. They're probably looking an opportunity. Other people are also developing it. It's a threat. If they don't do it, somebody else will do it. They will be out of the competition. Correct? Large investments start with building a minimum viable product to test the hypothesis. What is the hypothesis? How do you test the hypothesis? So, does it require a product all the time to test an hypothesis? Do we need to really build a software to test an hypothesis? That's a question for you guys. Do we need to really build all the time in the minimum viable product to test it, your hypothesis, or it is not required? If it is not required, any example? Have you guys ever seen what is an MVP Dropbox has provided? Dropbox. Their minimum viable product was probably a 2-minute video. You can look at it. How it is going to work. Okay. Visualize the end-to-end flow of work that is required to deliver value. We are talking about operational value stream, end-to-end work. I took an example of a loan, correct? Identify and address delays in the flow of work. Wherever there is a series of steps are there, we need to identify where there is a delay. One by one, we need to remove it so that the whole chain will get optimized. This example, I can tell you, even look, I order so many things on Amazon. It's an operational value stream. And I also order on Flipkart. It's an operational value stream. I search the product and I buy on Amazon. I will get all the time, one time. The moment you order, it goes to the merchant message. There is a logistics person who picks it up and it gets transported to different hubs and it comes to the nearest to your place and it will be delivered by a delivery boy. But Flipkart, I have seen many times they say that, okay, we are not able to deliver. There are some logistic problems. But it cannot be a logistic problem, the same address, so many number of times, correct? There is some problem. Business teams operate with agile practices, not only software teams, business teams and other departments. Employees receive continuous feedback in contrast to annual performance reviews. Is there a feedback happens continuously so that they can become better and better. Continuous learning culture. This is the one more competency. How do you measure it? Relentless improvement is part of our culture. We have seen at a team level, it is retrospectives. At an art level, it's inspect and adapt. And that's not only thing, but we can see that everywhere an improvement can be seen, correct? Use data rather than opinions to guide our improvements. It's the fact-based. Organization provides time for innovation. I spoke about within the program increment, there are 5 sprints. One sprint is dedicated for the innovation planning, but not necessarily that only in that sprint we do the innovation. We can do continuously on a program increment. We do innovation all of the sprints, but there is a dedicated time. Otherwise, people also in the tyranny of urgency in all the sprints. Culture supports experimentation without fear of negative consequences. What we are saying that failure is not an exception, is an expectation. Correct? Failure is not an exception, is an expectation. That is the way we need to work. Otherwise, we will not be able to experiment it. Organization invest in individual growth. People, correct, to learn better, to do the current job better, and prepare the people for the future. Correct? That's what organization need to invest. Purposefully share learning across the organizations. What we have seen, community of practices. There are different communities of practices. There is a DevOps community of practices, there is a Scrum Master community of practices, there is a release train engineer practices, correct? And the UI developers practices, correct? So many architecture community of practices, so many community of practices to share the knowledge. Is that organization investing in it? With that, we have covered all the 7 core competencies. On what parameters we need to measure them, and how do you move forward? And I've also spoke about in configuration, what are the 4 configurations in the SAFe, how each of the configuration will help to master this competencies, and where the business agility really starts in the portfolio and full SAFe. So I will take, if you have any questions.
Okay, one question I have on behalf of
People?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you know where which SAFe version should be applied?
Yeah.
Is it from people or any other business complexity or any other thing you should look at?
It is essential SAFe, as I spoke about, where you are developing a single solution or single service, correct, where the 50 to 125 people. So that is the essential SAFe is enough. If you have less than 50 people, don't use the SAFe. You can probably, without SAFe, correct, without scaling framework, you can do it. That is the one option. Second, where you have suppliers and you are doing huge implementation, like I spoke about, correct, like a fighter crafts or like a commercial flights, where there is a satellites, where there is a single solution, multiple suppliers, and your organization also is doing it, correct? And it's a single solution. There is definitely a complexity, huge complexity, correct? And also is a huge solution. That's where SAFe recommends a large solution, where multiple trains and multiple suppliers. Okay, that's the first one. So then portfolio SAFe, where you have a collection of the products, where you definitely need something like business agility. Right? All these frameworks what we talked about, configurations within the framework, it is all required in where you need to achieve the business agility. If you do not want to achieve the business agility is not even required, then it's not required. You don't need to even basically implement this. Correct? It's not for the sake of just I wanted to go for an agile. I wanted to go for an SAFe. It's not required. This we talked about. There is an dual operating system that for the SAFe supports, and you have already an operating system which for stability and correct efficiency is already built. You can live with it if there are no changes. You are not basically impacted by the digital age, and you are not impacted by the software age. You don't need it. Right.
Slum the country. I know we bold it quickly, but we bold it right up to the batter. Then go short. Good catch by Karzaman, and I'm sure you must have thought about the last time you were seeing catches on the field.
Bharat, is that something for us?
That's what I think.
Is it for something else? He's asking us.
No, I didn't understand, so I just muted him. Okay, Venkat, thank you for that guidance. And is there any like a quick 4 or 5 questionnaire that, okay, now we answer that questionnaire and it will suggest that, okay, we need to use this version of SAFE or anything like that?
No, I don't think there is a questionnaire like that, but you can definitely speak to the SAFE program consultants based on correct. So first of all, do you have a business driver to implement it, correct? What is that you want to achieve, correct? It's not that you just want to, you have implemented. So look for a business driver. What is that, correct? What is that you want to achieve it, correct? Then you look at like what suits for you, and definitely there will be people who can help. So for this,
So definitely an expert help is needed, expert guidance.
It's a huge investment, definitely, correct? You are going to do a huge investment, and it is worth basically speaking to a practitioner, whether it is right thing to do it or not to do it, instead of just looking at a questionnaire and say that questionnaire says yes, correct? It's too simplistic.
The reason I ask is a lot of customers ask, okay, I want to implement SAFE because my competitor is doing it.
Yeah.
Obviously, one of the questions they should ask themselves is it really needed?
Really needed.
Are you ready for the investment? Are you ready for the commitment, long-term cultural transformation?
Yeah.
A lot of these things are happening, right? So it's better, good idea to talk to somebody who has done it before and seen the ups and downs of the SAFE transformation, and then get a suggestion from them.
Yeah. See, in one of the large bank, correct, they have 2 drivers when they wanted to go for a SAFE. It's a huge, they want to do both IT and the business transformation, they need to do it. They said that I want to make sure that my releases happens. Now I'm doing in X amount of months. I need to off it. That's number 1. Number 2, I need to have every release, the defect has to be halved, correct? So why that's what they want to do it. Then maybe like 1 year down the line, they probably wanted to again basically look at what is the release cycle now. They wanted to probably off it. That is what they are doing, because why they are looking at it. Other competitors are going to the market faster than me, but I am taking at this time like in 6 months or 1 year to go to the market. But how do I make it? That is the business driver. That was one of the largest bank which I've seen. Okay. But in the sake, if the other person, competitor is going for what is the business driver for the competitor to go it. Correct? There might be a business driver why the competitor has gone. Then you look it back, okay, that's how it is, correct? You probably go without any vision for the other person, then you will not know basically what you are achieving, correct? You probably have everything like a Nokia, but release that they were not able to release, correct?
Correct. Okay. Good. And one more question, maybe last question from my side, is because we have several practitioners and new, agile team members in this group. So one question that, again, I'm asking on their behalf is from a certification standpoint, right? So SAFE certification standpoint.
Okay.
Where should anyone start? Do you have one picture or one image where it shows those SAFE certifications and this is where we should start or anything like that?
I can show you briefly, correct, that might help people.
Sure.
Is it recording is happening?
It's happening. You want me to stop it?
Yeah, better. Basically, I'll be bringing some copyrighted material
to ask. Venkat, thank you so much. This is great.
Thank you very much. Suresh, thanks for the opportunity, guys. Thank you very much for all your time.
And we are not done yet, so I request others to kindly stay on for a few more minutes. One final call for any questions. Anyone on the SAFE or the concepts that we have heard in the last 1.5 hours or so?
So this leading SAFE certification, it is for whom? Like, is it a
for whom in the sense?
I mean, like we have this role-based certification that I understood. Like for master, it could be SAP Scrum Master, and then you go on to this advanced Scrum Master certification, and for product is SAP POPM. So, in that sense, who will do this leading SAP certification? So, is it for someone with some understanding of SAP or
SAP Agilist?
Yes.
SAP Agilist is that is probably to understand the overall SAP, correct?
Okay.
So whatever I have spoken about is 7 core competencies. So out of the 7 core competencies, if you go to the leading SAP, you will get in detail how these will be enacted in the SAP implementation. So that you if you go there, you probably able to see that how the implementation can happen.
Okay.
Somebody is asking, what is the, please share your insights and some examples on a lean portfolio management with agile aspect. What does, where the lean portfolio management is implemented? Lean portfolio management is very new, if you ask me. It's not many organizations basically are implementing it. Correct? See, it is look at to differentiate in the market, correct? I have given one example where we have done that agency banking without a lean portfolio management. So we end up losing probably like $4 to $5 million US, correct? Now, when you implement a lean portfolio management, how do we make sure that on a cadence based you review with the business owners and look at the market, whether this investment is the right, correct? That's how the product company where I am working now, and it is not making a sense, the product will be retired. Product will not be, we will basically not, what we say that development will stop. We see that there is no market for it. And there is no further investment. It's not that we have already put an investment, we need to put so much money after the bad money. We don't do that. Okay. So where there are multiple products and where continuously we look at it, whether it is worth spending further money on the product or product itself is stop the development. And currently we are not highly matured, but we are seeing that. So how we can do that and how we can stop it. So one more question. Okay.
Okay. Good. So I guess no questions. So we'll wrap up now. So I would request my team member Preeti here to just do some closing, which takes about 5 to 10 minutes. I request all of you to kindly stand, wait, and don't leave, because we're going to do an announcement of the next couple of sessions as well. And Venkat, a lot of thanks to you with the busy.
Thank you very much.
And evening programs and all that stuff. I know how a trainer and a coach's life would be. So in spite of all of that, you came over to this platform just to share your experiences and other insights on SAFE. I really appreciate on behalf of Premier Agile and the Premier Wednesday platform and all the people who have joined here. Yep.
Thank you guys. Thank you very much.
Preeti, do you want to just quickly take over?
Sure, Suresh. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. This is Preeti from Premier Agile. I would want to express my gratitude to each of you for joining our Premier Wednesday webinar on business agility through SAFE by Mr. Venkat. And Venkat, thank you so much for presenting the Premier Wednesday event. And yeah, I'm sure you all here know Mr. Suresh Konduru, the CEO and founder of Premier Agile, which is one of the top 10 agile consulting firms in the world, founded in the year 2018. Premier Agile as a company helps organizations, teams, and individuals convert into new generation organizations all over the world. Its coaching programs are backed by globally recognized Scrum Alliance flagship certifications like CSM, CSPO, ACSM, and ACSPO, as well as other programs from similar organizations. I would like to share some insights with you about Premier Agile as a company by walking through our website. Just give me a second. I'm just sharing the screen right now. Yeah, I hope every one of you can see my screen right now. Right. So we have arrived on a website that is www.premieragile.com, and we are glad to state that we have trained overall 20,000 students in 35 countries and conducted over 1,000 seminars, all of which were 100% successful. We at Premier Agile give world-class training experiences with brain science learning by delivering classes with zero PowerPoint presentations, as you all, some of you already would have experienced before. So as a result, we are pleased to announce that our USP is a 5-star rating on Google. So several media outlets have recognized Premier Agile as the best Scrum and Agile consulting organization in the world over the last couple of years. So Premier Agile has constantly received media interest, and one of our most recent accomplishments was winning the title of the Best Agile and Transformation Service Provider of 2022 by the London-based Corporate Vision magazine, followed by the Best Agile Consulting and Transformation Companies in 2022 by the most popular Business Connect magazine. We were once recognized as the top 10 Agile consultants by the CIO Tech Outlook, and as the most admired companies to watch in 2021 by the Business Fame magazine. So when it comes to certifications, we are honored to be affiliated with the Scrum Alliance and the Scaled Agile organizations. And under the Scrum Alliance body, we do have certifications like Certified Scrum Master, Certified Scrum Product Owner, as well as advanced courses like Advanced Certified Scrum Master and the Advanced Certified Scrum Product Owner. Wherein under Scaled Agile, we do have Leading Safe, Safe Scrum Master, and Safe POPM. So on the combo courses, in fact, we are offering up to 22,000 discount. So with years of hands-on agile transformation expertise in Fortune 500 companies all around the world, we also offer customized corporate trainings. So along with the trainings, we also offer ongoing learning such as Premier Wednesdays, Ask Mentoring sessions, quizzes, learning shots, and other resources. So let me share a few insights about the same. So we host free webinars on a variety of topics with speakers from various locations sharing their perspectives. And on Wednesdays, this usually occurs, hence the name Premier Wednesday. We'll be hosting an Ask Mentoring session on September 14th from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. by Mr. Suresh Konduru. You'll be able to get answers to your questions, learn about the most recent certifications, and receive professional advice. To take part in this session, you need to just simply fill in this form and click on the register button. Okay. So this is the Ask Mentoring session I was talking about, and you can now fill in the form over here, and you can find the Ask Mentoring session over here, as well as, we have one more event coming up on September 21st. That's on the topic how to prepare for Scrum Master interview. Okay. So we provide self-quizzes as a part of free learning. A Scrum Master, a Product Owner, a Product Manager, Agile Coach, a Safe Transformation Leader, or simply any Agile team member can benefit from these. Our experts have put together a collection of short videos to help you learn about Agile, Scrum, Product Ownership, and scaling. Every Wednesday, we post one video on social media, which we have listed below for your convenience. So as an intention to assist Premier Agile class participants, we have curated templates like Product Backlog, Sprint Backlog, User Story Mapping, and many more to implement Scrum. So this can be tweaked to fit in the needs of your company. So there are more than 100 plus non-ID case studies wherein Scrum can be used. And in fact, our website will provide you with a wealth of information on these topics. We have approximately 200 blogs on our website that are updated every Thursday. So you can browse them based on your requirement. So our social media accounts include LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram by the name Premier Agile. Please follow our social media channels so that you may learn and get information from these channels. And yeah, so please do contact us on our hotline numbers, that is 9154224453 or 707-552-4453 if you require any further support in the future, or if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact us. We are just a phone call and an email away. And thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to show you around our website and for choosing Premier Agile. And lastly, I would request you to please subscribe to our newsletter to receive regular updates. You can just put in your email address and just click onto the subscribe button. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending our Premier Wednesday event. Have a great day ahead. Thank you, Suresh.
Thank you, Preeti, for that. Once again, thank you, everyone, whichever part of the world you are. Stay safe, and we will see in the next Premier Wednesday, which is going to be on 14th, and one more followed by on the 21st. And if somebody would like to add the SEUs, you gain 2 SEUs as part of this session. And if you want to add your Scrum education units to renew your Scrum Alliance certifications, so Ishwari, if you could kindly post that link so that that's a help for everyone. So please go ahead and click on that link and bookmark it so that it is helpful for you to add SUs and renew the Scrum Alliance certifications. And a few minutes back, Ishwari has also posted our LinkedIn page address on the chat. So you can also follow us to get notifications of the future events. Thank you, everyone, and have a great rest of the evening or the afternoon, depending on wherever you are.
Thank you, sir. Have a nice evening to you as well.
Thank you. Wishing you the same.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.